Hello, is this thing on? Where's my snare? This is an episode of Our Yard Podcast, episode number 9, Be Yours. We're going to be going over the NCAA Top 25 AP rankings. They just released 2 days ago, and we're like, you know what? We've been playing enough college football 25, and we've gotten ourselves hyped up for Ohio State and Ole Miss. And we're like, you know what? We ought to just record a podcast of talking about this shit into the air. So that's what we're about to drop on y'all, a little bit of knowledge.
That's
And
right.
mm, I just love it so much. I'm about to get into it, starting off with number 25, the team that everybody fears when the punter walks out on the field, the Iowa Hawkeyes.
That's right. Their punter did win the Ray Guy trophy this last year. So,
No
um,
offense, great defense, and probably the best special teams that you'll ever see.
that's right. If an
We got
Iowa kicker walks onto the field, it don't matter what 30-yard line it's on, no matter what hash it's on. It's going through that field goal post one way or another.
going through, brother. But a couple of notes, we made some notes, or Trevor made some notes. Shout out T Swaggy T.
Thank you.
We got, he made some notes, like just some little things about the special players, like the best players, and then the hardest game. So yeah, really, I mean Iowa. I mean, no offense, great defense, best special teams. Like there ain't much to be said about them honkies. I mean, you got senior linebacker Jay Higgins, who's coming off 79 tackles, 2 sacks, and as we call it, because Trevor misheard me one day playing, one hornswoggle, which is equivalent of a forced fumble.
That's right.
And then their senior safety, Sebastian Castro, had 47 tackles, one hornswoggle, and 3 interceptions. The hardest game, no doubt, Ohio State. In the horseshoe, that's going to be. You know what? It might be a banger. It might be a good game because
I
you know
think
as
Ohio
a
State's offense is going to have to go just full dummy because Iowa, you're not going to have a problem stopping Iowa. The problem is you getting through Iowa.
yep, and Ohio State. I'm not sold on Will Howard, and I'm not like I'm gonna watch the first game against Akron, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, he's a hero. Like I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, Ohio State. I'll get to them when we get to the top when we get to the top 5. But like, my favorite team, like Ohio State, brother, it's like Will Howard's gonna have to show me something. I don't think it's gonna be there, but I do believe that we can beat people with time of possession. I think Ohio State has the best 1-2 running back combo with Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. Like I don't like as long as the offensive line puts out, brother. Like they can run for 350 a game and get
Oh,
about
easy.
and have about 30 minutes of possession time. Like shit, probably 40, 35, 40 minutes of possession time. But anyways, that's for later. 24 North Carolina State, uh, subpar offense, decent defense. I mean, I think they're a team to watch out for. They're sneaky. Like they're in the ACC, they're sneaky. I mean, you could be looking at it and be like, "Holy shit!" You know, they ended up 10-2 and and then they're playing in the ACC championship game, and they might go and win the ACC and end up uh being in the playoffs. Like I wouldn't put it past them. Like they have
Yeah,
they're
so,
sneaky.
the ACC isn't nearly as
Lopsided.
one-sided as it used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not nearly as one-sided as it used to be. The ACC, this is the year. These are the years that conference is going to be up for grabs, and I don't know who the hell is going to win it. My guess, probably Florida State, but between them and Clemson, I mean that's usually the two that usually win it. But Miami, they're a damn good team. So we will see.
But we have like their star players. North Carolina State has sophomore wide receiver Casey Concepcion coming off 1,159 yards and 10 touchdowns as a freshman. I mean, dude was stellar last year.
Hmm.
Like the, I mean, his the sky is his ceiling. Like, dude's he can do some special stuff. And then they have a new quarterback, fifth year quarterback, Grayson McCall. He had 10,000 yards in 4 years at Coastal Carolina. I mean, who knows how
I
he's
don't
going
really
to,
know him that well.
yeah,
I do know Coastal Carolina was pretty damn good a couple years ago, and like he played all those years there, so I imagine he was a part of that team. I know
yeah,
he was injured last year, so this is going to be a real big test coming to one of the Power Four conferences.
yeah. And the hardest game on schedule on paper right now is Clemson at Clemson. Clemson's a tough place to play, so have mercy on their soul. And USC more than likely not going to do it. Like, they're going to be a bump because what? Like, I don't know. Like,
I think they're going to shit the bed.
yeah,
I,
like
I
they're not.
full
I
out,
don't
just
think.
full blown. They're going to shit the bed.
I don't think like it's going. They're going to have to adjust to the Big Ten way of life.
Their schedule is insane this year, dude. Like it really is, and they're coming off of losing number one pick Caleb Williams, and I really do hope he does good because if he don't even throw for 4,000 yards this year as a rookie with these expectations he's got on himself, they're gonna fucking eat him alive.
Yeah,
But this ain't an NFL video.
and it's yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like their junior quarterback Miller Moss, 681 yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. Sophomore wide receiver Zachariah Branch, he was decent enough last year. He had 31 catches, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, a punt return, a kick return apiece. And hardest game, yeah.
I just put
No,
yes because if you look at their schedule, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's
oh
they're gonna get
yeah.
slaughtered.
And see, the one thing they got lucky about is this year. This year they don't have to play. They don't have to
Oregon.
play. They don't have to go to Piscataway, New Jersey. But
Mm.
next year they will. I'm sure.
They're not ready for Rutgers at
They're not
Rutgers.
ready for that. But I mean, other than that, like hardest game, Notre Dame or Penn State, probably. I mean, if I don't know, it's
They don't play Ohio State. That's the only reason I did that.
yeah,
They don't even play Michigan this year. They like in Notre Dame and PSU. I'm pretty sure both of those are at Notre Dame and Pennsylvania State. So Penn State, they're actually used to playing. That's usually their last. That's one of the teams they usually play. Same with Notre Dame, but this year's different.
yeah, they're just good teams. And
Hmm.
then we got Kansas at number 22. Great offense, subpar D. Senior running back Devin Neal had 203 carries, 1280 yards, 16 touchdowns, 24 catches, 214 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, he's solid. I mean, he's a good running back. He carried them a good bit last year, threw a lot of it, and like they got it. I mean, they got a good team. Like they can be a sneaky. I don't like the Big 12 too. Like it's a lopsided. It's not a lopsided division. It's one of those that's up for grabs.
Not
So
anymore. Texas and
not
Oklahoma
anymore.
are gone now.
Yeah. So I mean, I think there's no like they could do something like if Kansas gets hot, gets rolling, they can end up going in and making they could make a damn conference championship push if they just you know keep their head down and keep going with it. And then that their senior cornerback Kobe Bryant,
Yep, that is his name, and it's not that one, but
30,
he's their senior cornerback.
30 tackles, one hornswoggle, and 4 interceptions last year. Hardest game, Kansas State at Kansas State. I mean,
Kansas
Kansas State.
State's really solid this year,
Oh yeah, Kansas
and they
State.
don't have to play. They don't have to play Texas or Oklahoma because they went bye bye.
Oh yeah.
Um,
But then Arizona, underrated team. sleeper pick for playoffs. Like me and Trevor we've been high on Arizona since last year when the freshman quarter when Noah Fafita came in and took off with them. Like he threw for 68, yards, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and uh the junior wide receiver, what's his
It's
name?
Techaroa McMillan.
Techaroa McMillan. It still messes me
Yeah,
up every time. Like even though I've been practicing, I just stalled out right there. But
yeah,
McMillan,
it's a rough name to try to say.
but 90 catches, 1,400 yards, and 10 touchdowns. I mean, they're awful.
Arguably the best receiver. This could be the best receiver coming into this year.
It's
Like,
without a doubt, like that, and then him, like I don't know, it could be, dude. They could light it up like as the best. They could possibly be the best wide receiver QB combo this season. Like,
yeah, and a lot of people are probably putting a lot of stock into Colorado, but guess what? They're not even like they received one vote. God knows why, but you know, I just they might be good, but I don't see that working. But they're not even in the top 25, so that's as much as I'm going to speak on Colorado.
yeah. But then hardest game probably Utah. Utah. I mean, Utah's a tough place to play. Can't cap about that, brother.
Yeah, no, it's
That's our that's mine and Trevor's sleeper pick. Like they could end up they if they end up hosting the 90, don't be surprised.
yeah, like don't be surprised at all. And if it ain't this year, but could very well be next year, given Techaroa don't like go to the NFL because that would definitely put the hurting on him. But next team we got is number 20, Texas A&M. Going off of last year, they had a solid offense, and going into this year, they have an incredibly dangerous defensive line. They have the junior edge rusher Nick Scorton. He had 33 solo tackles last year, as well as 10 sacks and a hornswoggle. And he's probably going to be like the star piece of their defense going forward this year. But he's definitely not going to be alone on that defensive line because you got the senior defensive lineman Shamar Turner with 16 solo tackles as well as 4 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. And I definitely feel like this is going to be a very, very dangerous team, but the offense is definitely going to have to step it up to the defense's level, or they're going to be looking like another Iowa out there. Their hardest game this year is absolutely going to be Texas, even though they get home field advantage. Texas is a top 5 team, and you have to take them with that kind of respect. So, that being said, definitely Texas at home. Number 19 is going to be the Miami Hurricanes. Solid all around team, but I don't personally feel like they're going to make the college football playoff. But being at 19, you don't really expect these teams to just swoop in. Of course, they're definitely a dangerous team, and they don't need to be taken for granted. But they're balanced, but I don't think they have enough firepower on either side to really like make it to that next level to make like a deep run in the college football playoff. But they're led on both sides of the ball by their senior defensive back, Michelle Power. He's a University of Washington transfer, and I mean, they made the natty. So that is definitely something to take into consideration with him. He had 29 solo tackles last year, as well as 3 interceptions. And on the offensive side of the ball, not from Washington, but from Washington State, they get a quarterback senior transfer named Cam Ward. And he had a fantastic season last year. He threw for 3,735 yards. He had 25 touchdowns and only had 7 interceptions through all that yardage. That being said, their hardest game this year absolutely going to be Florida State, even though they're at home. Um, they got more of a lax schedule than I recall them having last year, but still, I expect them to probably go like at best probably 10-2, maybe 9-3. Number 18, we're going to go down to. We talked about Kansas already. We're going to talk about Kansas State, and they have an incredibly quick hitting offense. Their sophomore quarterback, Avery Johnson, had 526 all purpose yards and 9 total touchdowns as a backup. And junior running back DJ Giddens had 1,226 yards, 10 touchdowns on the run, and 286 receiving yards. So they're definitely more of an offensive based team, but if they can get that defense together, they're another dangerous team as well. Um, I don't really watch as much Big 12, so I can't really say. I've just sat down. We're going to be keeping eyes on every team listed here and any team going into the top 25 moving forward. But um, I can't say I've really just sat down and watched a lot of Kansas State football. But from everything I've seen, they are a very solid team. Their hardest game is going to be Oklahoma State at home. And speaking of, number 17 is Oklahoma State. And outside of maybe what Ohio State's got going on, they might have the best running back in the country. And their junior running back, Ollie Gordon II,
Oh yeah, he's a
last
stud.
year, he's a fucking monster. Last year, he had 1,732 yards, 21 touchdowns, 6 yards per carry. That is bonkers. Um, And on the defensive side, they're not slouches either. Their senior linebacker, Colin Oliver, had 45 solo tackles as well as 6 sacks and 4 forced fumbles. And their hardest game is going to be the one previously mentioned, Kansas State at Kansas State. So if they can pull out of that, don't be surprised to see them wind up being in like the top 10 this year. Number 16, we got Oklahoma. Their first year in the SEC, I'm incredibly excited to see how this goes, especially since they're playing my Rebels. But we will see as the year goes on how they are going to wind up doing because this is pretty late in the year for both teams when we play each other. And Oklahoma, their defense is pretty much to be determined at the moment, but their offense is very, very, very elite. It was, I think, top five and points scored per game last year. So definitely going to be expecting that going forward as well. Their defense is held down by the senior linebacker, Danny Stutzman, who had 51 solo tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception last year. And the offense is looking like it's going to be kind of flowing through the sophomore wide receiver, Nick Anderson, who had 38 catches for almost 800 yards, 10 touchdowns, and this dude was averaging 21 yards a catch. So definitely a very, very explosive game coming from Oklahoma anytime you're having to play them. But again, like a lot of the teams we've named previously, um, their defense is to be determined, and we will see. But their hardest game is probably going to be the Red River rivalry, even though they do have home field advantage. Or it will be LSU at LSU, and you already know how hard of a game that's going to be, just no matter what the context is.
Yep. Also, like Oklahoma's one of those teams I could probably see going 6-6, or they could go 10-2 if they find their shit right. But
Yeah, there's you never know with
but
Oklahoma.
like I don't know. They think they can come into the SEC and dominate, but it's I don't know.
It ain't that
Which
easy.
I know stuff is a little bit more evened out from the portal and NIL deals and stuff like that, but it's still the SEC. Like the difference is like their defensive linemen are gonna make pressure. Like they're gonna put pressure on you. Like they're gonna
Hmm.
force it, and then they're gonna have you know like good. Most of them have good run defenses. Like most, I mean, Big 12. Like most Big 12 schools don't really have much going on.
Yeah,
As
not really.
far as defense and like causing problems like that. But yeah. But up next we have 15 through 11. We have old Rocky Top. Rocky Top. I'm coming through.
Oh,
Where's my
sloppy top.
where's my ex-wife?
Where's my
Um,
bottle of mustard?
Tennessee. I mean, they got a junior edge rusher, James Pierce Jr. coming through. 18 solo tackles, 9.9 and a half sacks. two forced fumbles, and one interception. And then they have their freshman quarterback, Nico Lamalavea, I'm going to say.
I
He,
think it's I am a Leva or I am a Leva.
well, there you go. That's why I don't like doing this. Uh, no, no, the freshman quarterback, I'm interested to see. He had 314 yards, two touchdowns as a backup. I'm kind of curious to see how he's gonna play out.
Hmm.
Just like coming like after I don't know, just being a freshman, and like after Tennessee's, they've had their starters at quarterback, like they haven't. I don't know. It's just gonna be a new. It's gonna be a new game for 'em. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm kind of curious just to see how it's gonna play out for them. But I mean,
I'm very curious to see how James Pierce Jr. is going to be because most people are calling him the best defensive player in college football right now, and I'm very curious to see if he can live up to that expectation.
and it's probable. He's gonna be a unit, but I don't know. I don't know. Like it's I just don't know about Tennessee. Like it's overall, because they can have like good. I don't know. It just seems like they always, even if they're really good, they could fall apart at any second.
Hmm.
So like I just don't know about my stock into them. But their hardest game is going to be Georgia at Georgia. Tennessee and
Yeah.
Georgia. Tennessee, that's it speaks for itself. And like Georgia and Tennessee always like they hate each other. So there's always like there's gonna be some hard hits, like some big plays. Like it's it's gonna be a game. It'll be a game to watch for sure. But and then again, it might be over with in the second quarter. You just never know about that.
Yeah.
But going to 14, Clemson. You know, looking at them as like their elite defense is what we're looking at coming into the season. Sophomore defensive lineman Peter Woods, 13 solos, one forced fumble. Um, and then the senior linebacker Barrett Carter has 37 tackles, 37 solos, 3.5 sacks, one interception. And boy, howdy, if their hardest game isn't Georgia.
Yeah, it's a recurring theme throughout this.
Yeah,
It honestly goes to show you how hard Georgia's schedule is more than anything.
yeah,
But
pretty much.
yeah, like it's just Georgia's like cream of the fucking crop right now. So we will
Yeah.
get into them when we do.
And then Clemson, they could be an ACC contender if they can be if they don't like last year they had them like they fell off. They slipped like they would just slip and make up mistakes like they'd make mistakes and crucial moments in games and like then end up losing them. It's like that's really not what we're used to seeing from Clemson over the last 10, 15 years. But hell, everybody has some years and moments and it is what it is, but they're still going to be a team to look out for, obviously. You can't really count them out necessarily. If Dabo Swinney's if he's a coach, somehow he always keeps getting good players. Um, LSU, elite offense, like their offense it's been electric, and like their defense was horrendous last year.
One of the
LSU
worst in the country.
they might have had the worst. Like it was fucking atrocious. I just don't know. I don't know how to explain. It's rough, and it is what it is. But yeah. Looking at them, the best players. We're looking at junior offensive tackle Will Campbell, 6'6", 320, arguably best lineman right now, and it's like he's he's highly sought after. Like as of right now, kind of early where he could go. And then, like, he could come out this year, he might come out next year. But whenever he comes out, as long as he gets to play all his games, like, dude's gonna, he's gonna be an NFL pick. Like he'll probably be a top 15 pick for sure, if not high, depending on the teams picking what their needs are. I mean, he could be higher than that. Like I'm not, dissing the man, just being realistic. Sometimes offensive linemen aren't needed. Most of the time they are. Most of the time the worst teams they need offensive linemen. So that's most of the time. So,
I would
but
gladly take Will Campbell in Pittsburgh. Same
oh
thing with
yeah.
it's same thing with Techeroa, to be honest. But
You hear us, Mike Tomlin? You better, uh, you better tank this
make
year,
the goddamn right decision, Mikey.
brother. Junior linebacker Harold Perkins Jr. 43 solo tackles, 5.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 1 interception, and of course their hardest game is going to be Bama at LSU, but it's Bama and LSU, so it's probably going to be a banger. Like,
Slugfest every time.
yep, it's going to be a hard hitting one for damn sure. And
Mm-hmm.
then we got Utah at coming in at number 12, and Trevor seems to think they have a trash offense. they
Compared to last year, they had one of the lowest scoring offenses.
Oh
Like
yeah,
they were like in the hundreds as far as points, like
yeah.
in their rank. Like
Well, they were
so,
coming out like they had a lot of injuries, and like they had a backups playing most of the year, so it is what it is. But yeah, like coming off a not so good offense and then a excellent defense. I mean, and Utah's they're a good place to like they're a hard place to play at. I can't I said that earlier, and like they got to play like their best players. Their senior tight end Brant Hughes Hewitt, I guess.
oh, Brant Casey,
Uh,
he's coming off of it,
Brant.
and did his thing.
Yeah, he had 2,000 yards, 16 touchdowns for a career thus far, and then you have senior quarterback Cam Rising, who was like I said, he was also dealt with injuries last year, but he had 29. He had 29, 39 yards, uh, 25 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. And looks the hardest game on paper right now is Oklahoma State at Oklahoma State, which is not what you might say. Well, that's not that hard, and it might not be, but then again, it could be. Like
My
given
main my main
given
reason for
on
saying that is because Oklahoma State's got arguably the
all,
best running back in the
yeah,
nation right now.
that's
So
the thing about Oklahoma State is like Ollie Gordon is going to have to carry that damn team to wherever they go, but
yeah,
they could
absolutely.
I mean it could definitely honestly I wouldn't I wouldn't put it past that being like top 5 game of the year. I mean it could be a shootout for damn sure. uh Missouri, they have a scary air raid offense coming in, and Missouri's coming off hot, coming off their Sugar Bowl win against the Ohio State University. Um, I mean,
So
they were just more men than Ohio State was last year, and it's part of it. I mean, Ohio State just didn't have a quarterback, and like I said, I'll get into that more or later on. My fears, um, but they have coming back junior wide receiver Luther Burden the third, whew, up with him and between him and McMillan from Arizona, like those probably going to be up for the Blitnikoff Award winner. Like, brother, Luther Burden is like a stud. Like this
he's
dude,
a
like
stud.
he has turned this program around. Like you could damn near single handedly say he turned it. Like he has went nuclear since being a freshman there. It's crazy, and yeah, like dudes, yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. It's hard to do anything with him. Like 86 receptions, 1,200 yards, over 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. You got senior quarterback Brady Cook, 33, a little over 3,300 yards, 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. You know, coming in cooking on that one, and like the hardest game is going to be Bama at Bama, which is speak for itself. Uh,
Yeah.
like Bryant Denny, rest in peace. Uh,
Good
rest
luck with
in peace,
that.
rest in peace, Nick Saban.
103,000 fans. They got fucking 20 teeth between all of them, but we'll get into that later. Um, I'm gonna be doing 10 through 6 because one of these teams is my favorite. And it sure ain't Florida State,
It is
but
Florida State. They deserve to be in this title
mm,
game.
Scar Knowles. No, it's they're very defensive based team compared to last year. I mean, they had a wonderful quarterback last year. He just got hurt at the end of the year, and he's gone now. So they have the Oregon State transfer who played at Clemson there for a while. DJ, forgive me if I butcher this. Uangalalele. I think I added an extra L, but we'll call him DJ. He's the senior quarterback, and his last year he had at Oregon State. He had 2,638 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, which, pretty solid year. So him going to Florida State, which is they relied pretty heavily on the air raid last year, as do most ACC teams. They're outside of North Carolina. They don't know how to do nothing but run the ball, and you'll have that on these big jobs. But if they do decide to run the ball, their senior offensive lineman Darius Washington, 6'4", 310-pound beast of a man, is definitely going to lead the charge on that. He can't say for sure that he won any awards last year per se, but I do know that I think he got all ACC honors for the line, and definitely if offensive linemen are your thing to watch out for, he's definitely somebody I'd keep an eye on. Um, but their hardest game is going to be Notre Dame at Notre Dame, and again, like playing Bama at Bama, that's a game that speaks for itself. Notre Dame Stadium isn't nearly as big as Bama's, but that don't matter. Their fans, the volume of the fans make up for that plenty. Number 9, Michigan, the defending national champions. They lost a lot going forward, so I don't see them even staying in college football playoff contention. They might wind up making the year like maybe like low 20s, but I don't see them breaking into the top 12 by the end of the year. They're going to be more of a defensive based team this year as well. Their junior defensive back, Will Johnson, had 20 solo tackles and 4 interceptions last year, as well as the other junior defensive lineman, Mason Graham, had 23 solo tackles, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble last year. And their hardest game by far this year is going to be the game at Ohio State. And I'm speaking for Harley when I say that we already know who's going to win that game this year. I don't think Michigan's got enough in the tank this year.
Now, fuck Michigan.
No, he hates. Well, you already know that kind of comes with the territory of being an Ohio State fan. You just hate Michigan,
Hate them.
but we will get into the lesser of the two evils, as Harley would describe it later on. Um, Penn State, the old Nittany Lions. They might have the best defense coming into this year because they did lose some people, but they didn't lose a whole hell of a lot. Um, and that defense is going to be held down by one of the best defenders in the league, the junior defensive end Abdul Carter. Had 26. So, huh? Sorry.
No, I was just saying. Oh yeah, like dude,
Oh yeah, Abdul.
it's
Yeah,
Carter's
Abdul
a
Carter.
stud.
He's another one. He's honestly he kind of reminds me of like Aaron Donald, but just a little smaller. Like he's a beast, man. 26 solo tackles, 4.5 sacks, a forced fumble, and an interception as a defensive end last year should tell you everything you need to know about him. And their offense is going to be held down by the junior running back, Katron Allen. He had 902 yards and 6 touchdowns last year. Don't let the small amount of yards fool you if 900 is small to you. He had 5 yards per carry, which is elite. You know, um, their hardest game, just like Michigan, is going to be the Ohio State game, except they get home field advantage. So we will see how that game goes. Number 7 is going to be Notre Dame. They're a very scarily balanced team. They have a fantastic offense, fantastic defense. I expect both of them to finish probably like top 15 as far as like most points per game and least points allowed per game. Um, their two-star players are on defense though. Their junior cornerback Benjamin Morrison had 25 solo tackles, 3 interceptions, and 10 pass deflections last year. So this dude, just don't try to throw anywhere near this dude if you're wanting to keep the ball. Um, and don't even run it up the middle because you have the senior defensive lineman Howard Cross III had 28 solo tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles this year. And they have a really tough schedule this year. Their hardest game is I put it at a tie between two. It's either going to be Texas A&M at Kyle Field, which good luck with that, or it's going to be Florida State, even though they have home field advantage. Because Florida State coming in this year, if they can just get their offense together a little bit, I think their defense can carry them good places. And number 6, Hotty Toddy, gosh almighty, we're going to lose a bunch. Ole Miss. Our defense is improving because historically speaking, Ole Miss is like the best defense we ever had was Patrick Willis just by himself, and that's not good, you know. But I think the defense is improving. We had Walter Nolan transfer from Texas A&M, and he's going to hold down the nose guard position, defensive tackle, and hopefully he matches up really well with the senior defensive end Princely Umamilan, who had 22 solo tackles last year as well as 7 sacks. And the offense is going to be more than likely held down, fingers crossed, by our senior quarterback Jackson Dart. Had 3,364 yards last year, 23 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions and all that. And he's a dual threat. He had 377 rushing yards as well as 7 touchdowns. And our hardest game, as you're about to see a little trend start forming here, it's a home game against Georgia. So fingers crossed on that. But we are here to the top 5, and I will let Hogmaster take it away.
Okay, I'm scared. I can't do this anymore. This is about to break me. Um, Roll Tide coming in at number 5. Trevor's glad that Saban's gone. I'm a little upset. Now, I just wanted him to win 10 more. Rest in peace. No.
Mm.
Well, we have their star players. Junior linebacker Deontay Lawson, 32 solos and 3 sacks. Junior quarterback Jalen Milrow coming in, 2,800 yards, 23 touchdowns, 6 INTs, 468 rushes, 12 yards, 12 yard God, 12 touchdowns,
Well,
sacked 38 times in 2023. Honestly though, like, so they have a new coach and and Kelly and what's his name?
Kalen DeBoer.
Kalen DeBoer, yeah. Like their new coach and Kalen DeBoer, and they got a new offensive coordinator. I really don't know about their offensive coordinator, like just how I feel. I mean, I think he's gonna be good, but like, how is Jalen Milrow gonna be in a new offense? Because like last year, it took him a month. Like it took the offensive coordinator last year took him a month to get to get Jalen Milrow adjusted, like get him to figure out, oh, I can. This is like to figure out his strong suits and then get through the year because Alabama, if y'all remember, started off pretty rough last year. Like
Mm-hmm.
not like rough for their standards. For most other people's standards, like oh, it's pretty good. But if you lose one game, bro, like they lost to Texas, and everybody's like, God, we're fucking done. We're through. This, oh my God, we're about to
Oh
fucking
God,
lose.
horns up,
They're like,
horns up.
we're about to lose to we're about to lose to the FCS Northeast Panthers. And then, but like, whatever, piss on them. Like, I don't know. Like, if Jalen Milroe can adjust and they figure out a good scheme, then yeah, it'll be good to go. But other than that, I don't know. Um, Texas put in Archie Manning because cause he's 80 years old.
Please.
Like, but no, like Arch Manning. I don't know. Like Quinn Ewers hasn't really impressed me. Um, you know, massive cop block Quinn Ewers. All he's doing is holding back Arch Manning, and I don't like that. Um,
Arch ain't getting any younger.
now we need to. Now we need him in right now. But I don't know. Like, I mean, Texas could be. Mm, like Texas, big thing. They just lost two of the best, like their their best defensive lineman and linebacker to the draft, and like that's what you need. Like I talked about earlier with the SEC rush defense, like you need that power up front to move. Like you have to force pressure on quarterbacks. Like you have to disrupt the run game in SEC because most SEC teams are like they are pro style and they're going to run the ball a lot. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious to see how Texas. I'm curious to see how they translate to the SEC, and they do have a really good team. I'm not like obviously they're number 4, so they have talent. There's no doubt about it. But honestly, like best case scenario, I see them going 9-3. I don't see them in the SEC championship game. Like honestly, my SEC championship game probably be. I really think it could be Ole Miss and Georgia if they end up somehow like because they don't have to have there's not East and West anymore. It's just one big conference. So like I don't know they play each other in the year, but I just feel like those are going to be the top two teams is Georgia and Ole Miss by the end of the season. But who knows? But that's just my guess. My for for that, but you know, Texas like the junior offensive lineman Kevin Banks Jr. 6'4", 320, big fucking hoss. He's gonna. I mean, he's a stud. Like they're gonna need him a lot in Gatlinburg. I
Mm.
mean, and their hardest game is Georgia. Couldn't have seen that coming. And then you know that's about that with Texas. Like I don't know. Like that's just how I feel about them. Oregon. Trevor thinks they're going to be the Natty winner. No, he
No,
thinks.
I just feel like they're gonna be in it.
Yeah, they'll be in there, or they're going to be a contender for sure. Like Oregon is stacked. Like yeah, senior quarterback Dylan Gabriel, transfer from Oklahoma, over 3,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, 6 INTs, 373 rush yards, 12 touchdowns. And then the senior defensive end, Jurgen Madurgan. Jurgen Madurgan. I don't know why I'm struggling so much right now, but y'all
Oh,
can
it's all good.
y'all can roast me because I don't give a fuck. The senior defensive end, Jordan Birch, who is he is a dude's a hoss. Like I don't know what to say. Like dude, he really is. Like, and it's kind of weird to say that Oregon have like an awesome defensive player, but like dude is He's solid. Like I'm not gonna lie
Hmm.
about it. And then the hardest game is either Ohio State or Michigan. So it's not either one of them. It's not an either or. It is Ohio State. That's going to be Ohio State and Oregon is going to be a fucking showdown, brother. Like that's going to be a game that could go down for a game of the year too. Like low key, like that. That's I don't know. It's going to be it'll it could be a playoff game. It's very likely it'll be a playoff game. It could even be the Big Ten championship game because, like I said earlier about the SEC, there's no more divisions. It's just a conference. So, Big Ten,
Hmm.
you know, we don't have the legends and leaders. Shout out to real Big Ten people who know the legends and leaders conference. That's real ball knowers. You don't have the East and West, so it's just like, brother, do what you want. Like, I mean, it's a free for all, and like, here comes Ohio State, brother. We ain't never missing another fucking title game again, you stupid motherfuckers. And with that, I'm leading into the best goddamn fucking team in the whole goddamn fucking world, the Ohio State Buckeyes. And fuck everybody else who doesn't believe in us, because we're number one. And this is not biased. I swear to fucking God. I'm not having a meltdown. I swear I'm fine. Um, no, the Ohio State. I say that shit. That's really a joke because, like, there's a as good as dude. Our defense, I swear to God, might be the best defense. Like, this is the best defensive team we've had. Like, even better than in the mid 2000, late 2000s when AJ Hawk and all them were there. Like, this is probably gonna be the best Ohio State defense. Like, dude, we're stacked everywhere, and I'm very excited to see how Ohio State's. Like, I'm excited to see how we're going to be, but it leads me into this. I have this feeling in the pit of my stomach that it's the quarterback situation. Like, it's the quarterback. I don't like. I'm not bought in on Will Howard. Like, I get he was all right at Kansas State. I guess just I don't know, man. I don't have it in there for me. Like, I can't. I'm not bought in. I'm not. I can't do it. And there's a part of me, like me and my dad, we were talking the other day. It's like I remember I watched. Me and him were talking about when we watched the 2002 national championship together, and it was a double overtime victory against Miami of Florida, and we had Greg Kenzel was the quarterback. That was the last time a white quarterback has done anything significant at Ohio State. And I swear to God, like there's a every time there's a honky at our behind the center or in the gun, like I am oh I get paranoid. Like I don't know, like I don't have any trust in it. It scares me. I fucking hate it. Like last year I was in turmoil. I couldn't like it was bothering me and for a good reason because we fucking sucked. Like yeah, we went 10-2, but brother in Christ, like we could barely get out of fucking Indiana. Fucking Indiana. We haven't lost to them. We haven't beaten them by less than 30 points since 1991, and we couldn't fucking score any points. You kidding me? Like, dude, I can't deal with this. Like, get these honkies out of the fucking Ohio State quarterback locker room. You're gonna piss me off. Like, this shit ain't good. It's not good for me. Maybe he'll do good. I hope like. Obviously, I want him to do well, but it's just I just got this feeling, and if he shits the bed on me, you better lock Columbus, Ohio up because I'm coming and I'm about to risk somebody. But no, they looking at their players, like I said before, the two they probably got the best. They probably have the best 1-2 running back punch in the country, and it's not even close. With Quinton Junkins coming from
Mm.
Ole Miss, probably the best
Mm.
transfer we got. Coming from Trevor School to the best school.
That one hurt. That one hurt.
And then
That
we
one
got
hurt a lot.
and then we got Trevion Henderson, who is a big stud. He averaged 6 yards per carry last year. Um, and then our senior cornerback Denzel Burke, boy howdy, that's a stud. I mean, we got dude. I'm telling y'all, watch out for Ohio State's defense. It's going to be lights out. Our offense, as long as we're going to have to grind and pound with Henderson and Quinshon Junkins, and shout out our third string running back James Peoples, who is also a fucking stud, believe it or not. Surprise, surprise, But Ohio State, we like shit. Not even two, like not even the best 1-2. Shit, best three running back. Like I mean, brothers, like we can ground and pound all day. I don't give a fuck. I mean, dude, like I would take it if we can win a natty. If we can beat the brakes off Michigan and win a natty, bro, let's run the ball. I don't care. You don't think I'll watch every Ohio State game with them running the ball? And goddamn, get a fucking fullback. I want to see a fullback dive. I don't. You know what? Take these honky quarterbacks, put one, give him number fucking 37, and put him behind, put him right in front of fucking Quinshon Junkins, hand him the ball, and make him jump over the fucking pile. I want to see a fullback dive right now. Girls! And then, but outside that, yeah, we're winning the Natty. We're gonna go 16-0, and yeah, we're gonna be the greatest college team of all time. So that's my prediction. And then Georgia, they can fuck off because they're not gonna beat Ohio State. But now the hardest game for Ohio State before I get off them is gonna be Oregon. Like I talked about it with Oregon, like it's gonna be game of the year probably or a contender for it. Yeah, Oregon and Ohio State, like brother, it's gonna feed family. Like if it was wrestling, it would feed families. Um,
Mm.
but Georgia powerhouse. Love you, Irby. I'm not calling him Irby with a K.
Mm.
We got they have junior defensive back Malachi Starks coming back, and probably the best defensive back active. 31 solo tackles, 3 interceptions, 7 pass deflections. Yeah, just 7 defenses altogether.
Yeah, that man is 7 defenses all at once. That's
He
the
has
reason Ole
7 defenses.
Miss's defense has never been good because Patrick Willis was only 4 defenses all at
That's
once.
right.
He wasn't 7. Not shit you
Senior
can do about that.
returning quarterback can't believe. Heisman hopeful Carson Beck, 39 over 3,900 yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 126 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. Hardest game is every other fucking game that we listed that is going to be their hardest game is Georgia, which is every other team. Uh,
The three
uh,
best examples being Ole Miss, Bama, and Texas. All three are road games. So
yeah,
Georgia is
it's
they
probably
got the
going to
biggest target on their back yet, but they might have the hardest schedule in the country too.
yeah, it's probably going to be Old Piss
Them
getting the
are
hardest.
them are USC though. Good lord, USC is that their schedule. It brought a tear to my eye. Those poor bastards. Like
Yep. I mean, toddy toddy. Gosh almighty. Who the hell is Georgia? Because we're going to stomp their assholes out. Uh,
dude, if Ole Miss beats Georgia, we're winning the Natty. I don't know what to tell you. If we
yeah,
beat Georgia, it's
yeah, like
just gonna happen. Like
our projections is probably going to be Ole Miss and Ohio State for the
yeah,
Natty.
no bias there at all.
No, no bias. And
Just
yeah,
facts.
Ohio State's going to win the Natty with as time expires, Quinton Judkins makes a 73-yard run as they think they're going into overtime, and he beats Ole Miss like that.
Oh yeah, Quinshon Judkins with the 80-yard touchdown run. The lead has now been cut down to 40. Um, no,
Now,
one can only hope.
that would be the funniest. Like, well, it sucks for you, but like,
Oh,
if
dude, I would
Ohio,
cry.
like, if they played in the Natty and it was like, and they're like, yeah, we're about to go to overtime, so they just kick it down. And Ohio State's like, hell, we'll just do a little power play, There's three, there's 4 seconds left. What can happen? They just hand it off to Quinchon, and he's like, "Fuck it, we ball." He does his elite spin move, and then the next thing you know, he's gone down the field and he beats Ole Miss in the 90 29 to, or yeah, 29-23 as time expires.
That's enough to make a man start a 12 gauge. I don't
It's
have
gonna,
anything. But
it's, it's gonna be
no,
wonderful.
I'd be happy for you because you're an Ohio State fan, and I'm sure you'd probably be happy for me if somehow Ole Miss were to hypothetically beat Ohio
Oh
State in the Natty. But it's gonna fucking hurt regardless. It's gonna be a bittersweet ass game
yeah,
if it
like,
happens.
but see, the thing about it is like if Ohio State, if they don't make it, like I have this feeling like I've already said, like the honky quarterbacks. It's like I have this pit in my stomach. I'm just like, if we don't win the Natty, or if we don't play for the Natty, it's gonna be because we got in our own way, not because any bullshit happened. Because Ohio State probably looking at them has like the best roster, like all around, like complete, except yeah, on paper people are high on Will Howard, so probably yeah, probably they probably have the best all around, you know, roster, and it's like okay, they're gonna do something, but who knows? I mean, I'm just ready for football. I'm just ready to watch some football. Is all really what it boils down to. Um,
Oh yeah.
I'm excited for it.
I'm just grateful that Ole Miss is somehow like fringe, like borderline top five team for like the first time in my life. Like going into the season as a fringe top five team because I remember those few years like 2014, 15, we wound up beating Bama 2 years in a row.
Hmm.
And boy, let me tell you, I don't really have a hateful bone in my body towards Mississippi State because they've never really done much like in my lifetime for me to be like, yeah, fuck y'all. But Bama, oh, let me tell you, I don't like. I might be like a step or two below my level of hatred for Bama
Yeah.
and Arkansas, but that's for different reasons. But like comparedly, like Harley to Michigan, his my Michigan is definitely Bama. Um,
Oh
Mainly
yeah.
because like you wake up, it's kind of like the Tom Brady situation, except it's a coach, and like because that's the only part like that Bama's had for so many years. And it's like Saban's gone now, and I really just hope to God that they just have a few years. Like I know a guy said, in between Saban and Bear Bryant, we had dark times. I counted it up from 1970, whatever fucking year Bear Bryant retired. Actually, I think it was like 82, all the way to like 2005. They had 6 losing seasons. Fun fact: Ole Miss has had 6 losing seasons in the past 15 fucking years. So like you sneeze, and then all of a sudden Jevin Sneed is your quarterback, and there ain't shit you can do about that. And just to see us like with that big number 6 right next to us, I don't even care that Alabama's directly above us. I'm just happy we don't play them this year and we actually have a chance to do something. And considering there's no more divisions in SEC, if we wind up beating Georgia, there is a very high chance that the SEC conference game is going to be Bama and Ole Miss, and I'm just gonna start screaming right then and there because I know how this ends. I know how this ends. There's no good ending as an Ole Miss fan when you play Bama. We've only been playing each other for 110 years. We beat them 10 times, and 2 of them have been taken away. So actually, no, 11 times. I'm so sorry. We beat them 11 times, and they took 2 of them away thanks to Hugh Freeze, like doing what they do now, but illegally. So, yeah, my Bama rant is over. Hopefully, they go 0-12, and yeah, that's asking too much. But Anyway, that was the top 25.
Due to what has transpired last week, I'd like to call to the ring Mr.
But yeah. Yellow.
What the fuck was that?
Connor, give me your best Meek Mill impression.